Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Syndicate. Mark here. I hope you had a fantastic Easter. Thank you for coming back to the channel and checking out another Star Wars Unlimited video. I'm going to be showing off a new Twin Suns deck that I've been working on. I've been saying for a while I'm trying to find a way to make sort of like double faction cards work. Faction cards using like double green or double blue or double red. I have toyed around with a couple of them. I think I found one that I like. This deck has some similarities to the very first deck that I put out, but it has a slightly different game plan and one that I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy, and it's running some of my favorite factions in the game. Before we dive into it, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when I put out new videos. I try to put out a Twin Suns video every week, just some new brew that I'm kind of working on and poking around at. I haven't had a chance to playtest all of them, but the good thing about Twin Suns is, man, every game plays a little bit different right now, especially as it's expanded to 80 cards. Gives you a new chance to check out some new stuff. So with no further ado, let's take a look at my new deck this week. It is called From the Backline. We got the two backline Imperial leaders here in Admiral Piet and Director Krennic, combined with Command Center. Now, let me go through each of these really quick and show you my justification before we jump into the cards. Admiral Piet, he is an action, exhaust him, play a capital ship that costs 1 less, flips on 5 as a 2/7 that makes capital ships cost 2 less. Director Krennic, he is each friendly damaged unit gets +1 attack. Then he flips on 5 as a 2/7 as well. So these characters, very similar leaders. On his flip side, he gives everything damaged +1 attack, and he also has Restore 2, meaning when he attacks, he's going to heal. Both these guys flip on 5. I wanted to add in pressure to my opponents. I know that they're not heavy hitters or anything, but they flip very early, and because we are running a little bit of extra ramp in this deck, we have a slightly more reliable way to, on turn 3, be able to flip both Piet and Krennic at the same time, get that discount on our capital ships, get the added pressure from Krennic along with the restore. Now we're running Command Center. I said in my last video on my double Han deck that if I was running a green base in Twin Suns, I'd like to run the one that makes me run 90 cards but gives me a few additional health to work with. In this case, I don't want to do that, and here's the reason. I actually want a little bit more reliability because I want to more reliably draw in to a piece of ramp in the early game. The other side of that is I also just I have to really dig deep in the pool here because we don't have a third faction to play into our deck to add cards into it. So for that reason, I'm playing just the straight up standard 30 health base Command Center here. You'll notice this deck does dig a little deeper into the card pools. You're going to play some stuff that you normally wouldn't play. You can probably already see that on the screen. But in addition to that, it also is going to play a little bit more restore and health gain. Whereas my first deck that I put out, which I think was Gar Saxon along with Grand Moff Tarkin, it was very similar to this list. It splashed in red, of course, because we were running a 3-faction list in that first game, and the Imperial Might deck really focused around putting out those upgrades, focusing everything around the Imperials and putting out a lot of pressure and damage, whereas this deck is going to be more focused on like reeling it in a little bit, less damage focused, more defensive, more health gain, and then in the end, let's find a way to overwhelm our opponents to the best of our abilities. Okay, let's take a look here. Salvage. Play a unit from your discard pile, then deal 1 damage to it. It has to be a vehicle unit. This is just fantastic for us. We love this card. Lets us go dig up our Imperial ships or our capital ships that have died already, and in addition to that, it just is basically swapping out a health for a damage because they're going to get buffed by Krennic immediately. Salacious Crumb for healing and pinging, close the shield gate to deter opponents from attacking us for a round, but also it enables a couple 2 key cards that are in this deck that we'll take a look at that you've probably seen before if you've watched my videos. Repair, just a way to heal us up. We are looking for healing in the early game to be able to sustain us. Timely intervention to go in the resource row. Admiral Piet himself in card form from set 1, just because, man, yeah, super powerful to be giving ambush to things like Avengers. We have Admiral Piet in the list for that. And then we have a ton of 2-drops in this deck. So Colonel Yularen, Director Krennic, Dr. Piercing, Inferno 4. Kajami Patrollers is the one that I would say you could probably ditch this card. The one card that I didn't put in this list that, looking back, I wish that I had was the card that resurrects a Force user or anything from your graveyard. It makes it cost 6 less or 8 less if it's a Force user. I didn't put that in this list. I think that you probably it's called Emperor's Return. I think that's one that probably should land in this list. The first new one, or one of the first new ones, is Mas Amata, a 2-resource 0/4. Listen, in a standard game, this card's just garbage because it does nothing back. Your opponent can freely remove this thing. It's not like it comes in as like a 0/6 or something that's really going to be able to stick around. But in a Twin Suns match, I threw this in here because I think it has a higher chance. You'll notice we're doing a lot to sort of sift through and find the capital ships that we do have, resupply ship and all of the stuff that is going to be like really powerful in combination with Piet. Mas Amata allows us to sift through our list. Dr. Piercing, Inferno 4, all of these cards help us to kind of get through our list a little bit faster in the early game, and that's really what we're looking for. We want to be able to sift through our early cards. Onyx Squadron, Brute, Outland TIE Vanguard, Pike Sentinel, all cards that I think you could expect to see in that early game. Although, Outland Vanguard and Admiral Piet are two cards that you actually, if these are like your only 2-drops in the early game, you actually want to mulligan these away because these are actually more powerful cards in turn, 3, 4, 5, and up versus playing them on turn 1. Rune Hako, he's a 3/2 for 2, so that's good enough. This is one that I would keep and play on turn 1, but if you do get him later, he can give a -1/-1. Scout Bike Pursuer, loves Director Krennic, gets that extra bonus once he takes a little damage. Seasoned Shore Trooper, just because it's a good card turn 1, but it is also a great card later on in the game. And with it, we have a couple of 2-drop or 2-cost resource plays here in the beginning. There's not a lot of point and click removal that you can really play in this combination until you get a little bit higher. So none of these are even cards that we're necessarily going to use right away, although Entrenched is an interesting card because it kind of messes up an opponent, but also gives opponent a benefit. And so if you notice, man, I don't really have anything for my space lane, or I don't have anything for my ground lane, but my opponents do, you entrench one of your opponent's stuff. It removes the threat from damaging you and just fuels up one of your opponents to completely wreck the ground lane of your other friends. And so I like Entrenched for that. Emperor's Legion, because we might want to play this on the backside of, a Super Laser Blast or something, and then Air Superiority once again, because this does give us the chance to get 4 damage out, and it's more reliable to happen in a Twin Suns game where it's easier. You have more opponents to outnumber in the space lane. Okay, going on to our 3-drops, Black Sun Starfighter, Calculating Magma Guard, Cell Block Guard, if we continue, Phase 3 Dark Trooper. All of these cards, the client, are all just sort of stall cards. They're all cards that we're going to be putting in there to try to slow our opponents down, and so we want those Sentinels as quickly as we can. Death Trooper to remove some stuff, Del Mico to just his ability just gets multiplied, and he has Restore 1, so that's great. We have General Grievous in here just because he's a 3-resource 4/4, and sometimes we just want the stat block. General Veers, not everything in our list is an Imperial, but a lot of stuff are Imperials, so this guy will also drag, target aggression at him and less towards our base. And then the 2 cards that are very good that we would love to see are either A, Super Laser Tech, we absolutely want to see, or B, the Outlaw Corona, the 3-resource 3/5 bounty. Put a top card from your deck into play as a resource. Now, this ramps your friends, but this is a turn 1. This is a 2-cost, because it's a capital ship. It's a capital ship. So it is a 2-cost 3/5 in space. Very powerful. A 2-cost 3/5 in space. That's why we have it here. So you can actually get this out on turn 1. So that's pretty good. Lots of 3-cost removal options. Make an Opening, which is basically just our same thing as our Perilous Position, but it's going to heal us too, and we can't run more than 1 Perilous Position. Merciless Contest and No Bargain, because they get much better in a Twin Suns game. I've said that on all of my Imperial videos. I'll continue to say it. I keep throwing them in. Power of the Dark Side, but what we really want, once again, we're looking for that resupply or that Super Laser Blast if we can get it on turn 2. Enterprising Lackeys, because it's a 4-resource 5/5 that we can play, and it can keep coming out, so we can keep putting out 5/5s. Iden Versio, because we do have a lot of sort of like turn 1 play ships, and then you can combine that with +3/+3 and shield on turn 2, and then a 4-resource 4 through the shield isn't bad in and of itself. Childson, because we have a lot of blue stuff, once again, just trying to stick up that ground lane and clog it up to the best of our ability. Lom Pike, 4 resource, 4/6 that can pass out shields. This card also just gets better. Here we go. Morgana is really because we have to dig a little bit deeper. We have to dig a little bit deeper, but a 4 resource 3/6 that is an Imperial is not bad for us. We like big butts, and so we have that right here, you know, with Morgan Elspath. I think I called her Morgana, Morgan here. Because if she takes damage, she's going to get up to 4 attack, which is great. She has Restore 1, and she can dig us deeper into our deck. We love that. We put this new shuttle in. I think this new shuttle is great. It's a 4 resource, 3/4 with a shield. But when it comes into play or when it's defeated, you can move, you know, 0 cost upgrades around. So you can steal one from an opponent, which is far more likely to have happen in a Twin Suns list that your opponent has an experience token or has a shield, but you can also shield it and then move its shield, let's say to, you know, one of your 3 costs in the ground lane, your 3/3 cell blocker or something. Let's get Sentinel and shield on something which, you know, clogs up that lane pretty well for you. It's really hard to get through. Calculated lethality, defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less, and for each upgrade that is on that unit, give an experience token to a friendly unit. This is in an ideal situation, just destroying a ship or a vehicle with a pilot on it from the early game. Command, one of the reasons that we're playing double green, thank goodness. Choose 2 in any order. Give 2 experience tokens to a unit. A friendly unit deals its damage to another friendly non-unique enemy unit. Put this into play as a resource or return a unit from your discard pile to your hand. Couple of uses for this. One, the ability to return stuff from the discard to your hand is very powerful in Twin Suns because it basically gives you a second iteration of a card. So that's fantastic. Number 2, 2 experience tokens and put it in as a resource is great. You're not always going to be able to get off the deal damage to a thing. It does serve as a removal, but very likely what you want to do with this, put it into play as a resource. If you're coming to the end of the game, what I want to do in the early game, like turn 4 or turn 3 when I have 4 resources, is put it into play as a resource, give 2 experience tokens to something. If I'm coming later in the game, I want to give 2 experience tokens to something and return something from my discard to my hand. Super powerful card. Defeat a non-leader vehicle unit with direct hit. Defeat a unit that costs 5 or more power, with 5 or more power. All of these cards, you're just going to see that just all of the blue removal suite, right? Takedown, dire hit, fell the dragon, out of the airlock, the vanquish, the rival's fall. So just know, I'm not going to go over all of those, but I will go over Lethal Crackdown. Defeat a non-leader unit, deal damage to your base equal to that unit's power. A 4 resource, just absolute direct non-leader removal. Combined with Close the Shield Gate, this is a non-leader removal option for 5 that does nothing bad to you. So that's fantastic. We're running 1 copy of Vigilance for the healing. And also, it's very rare that we're going to want to actually, like, you know, pull stuff off the top of somebody's deck in a Twin Suns list, but healing yourself for 5 and removing something is oftentimes worth 6 resources. So we're also running a Vigilance. Corvus, a 4/5 for 5. This is a capital ship. We're starting to get to our capital ships now. Okay, we're starting to get to our capital ships. So this is a 4 resource, 4/5 with Restore 2, and you may attach a friendly pilot upgrade unit to this. So that doesn't come into play very often because we only have like a singular pilot, and that's Iden. But this is just a 4 resource, 4/5 in space with Restore 2, which is plenty good. A 5 resource, this would once again, it's another capital ship. It's going to be a 4 resource, 4/6 that when play deal indirect damage to a player equal to the number of vehicle units you control. We have this because it is a 4 resource, 4/6 in space that does a little something for us as well. Gideon Hask, just because I like Gideon, I think that he gets better the more stuff that you play, or the more opponents that you play against. Not going to talk about these guys. We already mentioned them. Overwhelming Barrage, obviously. It's incredible. You have to have it in this list. This card is a sleeper, man. This card's a really good card for Piet. So this is a 5 resource 4/6 with Restore 2, but when it's defeated, heal up to 3 damage from a unit or a base. Just once again, we're just trying to stabilize and get a lot of healing. Chimera, the 6 resource 5/6. When played, you may use a when defeated ability on a friendly unit, and then it as a when defeated create 2 TIE Fighter tokens. This is a 5 resource 5/6 in space with an upside that leaves bodies behind. It's pretty good. Another Sentinel in Pirate Tank. This is not a capital ship, but just throw it in your resource and pull it out later. We're playing Resupply Carrier. This is kind of like the clutch card. This is kind of like the clutch card, right? So hopefully, theoretically, on turn 2 or turn 3, we can ramp, we can flip and put out our resupply carrier by using Piet to make it one cheaper, put another resource into play. We can flip both our Krennic and our Piet, and then the next round, because we've sifted through, we can play something really big because we've double ramped. We're way ahead of our opponents. We really love Resupply Carrier. We keep this in our opening hand. Absolutely. Unity of Purpose for each friendly unit with a different name, which will be all of our cards. Give each unit you control +1/+1 for this phase. So this could give a +3/3, +4/4, +5/5 to everything that you have out on the board. This is going to be huge bonuses for a turn with the intentional goal of completely wiping out an opponent. You're trying to get a board built, get ahead of your opponents, get Piet and Krennic out on the board, and then Unity of Purpose, along with a couple of capital ships that you've gotten a chance to get out, and win the game with it. Heal 5 off your base, along with whatever healing you're getting from Restore that round, completely decimate one person. You're going to play this, you're going to target the weakest person, you're going to completely crush them and knock them out of the game, and win the game from there. That's the goal of Unity of Purpose. Count Dooku and Vader and Maul, just because they are 7-drop removal options. Galactic Ambition, because we do have some very expensive cards, and we can combine Galactic Ambition, once again, with Close the Shield Gate. Once we're at 8 resources, this is not as costly for us in this case, because we are trying to ramp in this deck. We're doing our best to be able to get a little ramp. Turbo Laser, Salvo, no reason to really talk too deeply about this card. It is an absolute workhorse and beast of a card in Piet decks. The Assault Cruiser, this is more ramp and ambush, and it's a capital ship, and it's a 7/8. Need I say more? We can exploit this guy, and so while playing this card, defeat up to 2 units you control, and this will cost 2 less for each unit you defeated. You do this thing with your Piet out, so it's at 6. You defeat 2 additional units, and yeah, this thing drops by a total of 6. This is a 2-resource 5/7 capital ship that on attack gives an enemy space unit -2/-2. So if you get a couple of small things out there that you can sacrifice, even one with a Piet being flipped, and this thing costs 4. Yeah, pretty strong. Supreme Leader Snoke. No reason to explain that, just great control. The same as Super Laser Blast. Obviously, we're playing capital ships. Obviously, we're going to play Avenger. Malevolence, this is another one. A 9-resource 7/7 with Restore 2, Exploit 4, and when played, you give an enemy unit -4/-0, and it cannot attack this phase. Okay, so obviously, this could be free. Obviously, if you exploit it out, 4 units, this would drop to 1 cost, and then exhaust Piet, and you play this thing as a 7/7 with Restore 2 that gives something -4/-0 and makes it unable to attack this turn for free. Very rarely are you going to be able to do that. So, in the ideal world, you're going to flip Piet. He's going to make this cost 7, and then you're going to exploit 1 unit. Maybe you attack with your Krennic and then sacrifice your Krennic. Going to drop this cost to 4, and then play this on the turn that you were able to flip your Krennic. So, turn 1, you play a 1-drop. Turn 2, you resupply. And now turn 3 comes up, you're at 5 resources. You flip Krennic, you flip Piet. Your opponents cannot deal with 2/2/7s. You attack with your Krennic, heal up 2 points, and then you sacrifice him, and you play out Malevolence for 5. Not bad. Not bad. Also freezing up something on your opponent's board. So, pretty good. Relentless does not do the same thing, of course, but it is really good. The first event played by each opponent gets canceled. So this is not just the first event played in each round. It's the first event played by each opponent. Loses everything. So powerful. And then, of course, Devastator, Annihilator, and Executor at the top end. to be able to cheat these guys out a little bit faster, and then totally blow up our opponents and win the game through dropping these guys on the board. Okay, guys, that's everything. That's all the cards for this list. It gets to play a lot of the really big, really fun ones, along with a lot of our double cost fun stuff like Unity of Purpose and Command, and our Enterprising Lackeys, and we get to play Masamada. You know, who would have thought Masamada? Let me know what you think about this list down below. Is there a card that I missed? A couple people have pointed out cards that I just completely whiffed on and missed in lists before. Sometimes I do that, or maybe I can explain some of my justification for something that's in here. Once again, I do think that you probably should put the 6-cost Emperor's Return in this list, and I might remove something like the Emperor's Legion, although I really like that card for Twin Suns. Yeah, I might come back around and maybe I remove the Patrollers, or something in the early game that I would get rid of, just so that, you know, yeah, maybe I get rid of some of the early game. Maybe this guy here, maybe this gunship here. Although I like just having capital ships to be able to play out. I like that redundancy. To be able to get that, you know, return this Emperor Snoke, Supreme Leader Snoke back, right? Or your Maul, or your Vader, or your Dooku for 6 resources, or be able to, you know, resource and come back and get one of these really big things that maybe your opponent is able to get rid of your Relentless. You can go resurrect that Relentless, which is kind of wild with Emperor's Return. So I do think that card should probably be in this deck, and you could probably easily find, you know, something that you don't like in my list. Maybe the General Veers you get rid of, because we have a lot of 3-drops, and not everything we have in our list is an Imperial. Maybe get rid of Veers for that Emperor's Return, but I liked having the low-cost stuff in here that I had. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Once again, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when I'm putting more content out. We've gone over 100 subscribers plus some now, which is super, super cool. So I've just been in love with how the channel's been growing. So if you have a friend who likes Star Wars Unlimited and Twin Suns, share this video with them. It'll help the channel grow. Would really appreciate it. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you had a great Easter, and I'll see you in the next one.